Wait, you're a Bears fan and you're not subscribed to my channel? Before this video starts, make sure to 1. Hit the subscribe button below to catch all Bears content right here on this podcast. 2. Hit the bell notification because you, my friend, are a diehard Bears fan. And 3. Like this video and tell all the Bears fans you know about the channel. Alright, that's better. Now that you're actually subscribed to the channel, make sure to bear down and enjoy this video.
You're listening to Geek on the Mic. Geek on the Mic. A podcast all about the Chicago Bears. This podcast starts right now. Geek on the Mic.
Hey, what's going on, Bears fans? Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Geek on the Mic, the podcast all about the Chicago Bears. I'm not going to get into the whole all rundown. Make sure you just hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell notification. If you like the Bears, you will do it. But obviously, my guest sitting right next to me does not... Actually, let me take that back. I don't want them to attack you.
Yeah,
you respect the Chicago Bears.
Exactly.
You're just a Colts fan. You know, I was telling Tanner that I was going to play a clip of Devin Hester returning the opening kickoff back in 2006, but they beat us, so it wouldn't mean anything.
We'll show the celebration at the end too.
Yeah.
Final whistle.
That's exactly why I didn't do it, because it would backfire on me. So the reason I am having Tanner on is for the longest time I was doing mock drafts of just the Chicago Bears. But today we're going to do the first round mock draft of all 32 teams. We're going to be in control of all 32 teams. How do you feel about that, Tanner?
Good. I'm excited. I think we're going to do a lot better job than a lot of these GMs. We've seen a lot of the drafts that have gone down, especially in recent years, and I think there's a lot of GMs that we can replace here tonight.
Ryan Pace. I know you were talking about Ryan Pace without saying Ryan Pace.
I wasn't saying anything. I was saying,
you were thinking it.
The Packers last year traded up for a quarterback, so,
Maybe Ryan Pace drafted for him last year.
Yeah.
You know, Ryan Pace loves to be suspicious, especially when it comes to these drafts. So how we're going to do this is that Tanner's going to do all the odds, and I'm going to do all the evens. So we have the PFF draft simulator up right now, and we can both see it, and I'm going to share it on the screen right now. Hopefully you guys can see it. So we are going to start the draft, and Tanner, the Jacksonville Jaguars are on the clock.
Trevor Lawrence. Just gonna.
You're not gonna.
Yep. I don't think there's an explanation. Trevor Lawrence.
All right, we're gonna draft Trevor Lawrence.
Best prospect. Boom.
All right, I'm on the clock. The New York Jets, and I know there's a lot of speculation that the Jets may trade back, which I don't think it's gonna happen.
No.
They just traded away Sam Darnold, so with the second pick, we're gonna go Zach Wilson, quarterback, BYU. All right, you're on the clock.
They definitely need a quarterback now. So number 3 with the new number 3 pick is the 49ers. Obviously, Jimmy Garoppolo's got a year left. I've got them going Justin Fields. I know Mac Jones is another popular one. I'm just a huge Justin Fields fan. I think he's a baller. I think he's going to be a stud in the NFL, and I think going to the Niners will be a great fit for him.
Yeah, I totally agree. I know there was some big news that came out about Justin Fields' epilepsy, so that can be a concern, but I think it didn't affect him at Ohio State, so why would it affect him in the NFL, you know? So just before we move forward, we're not doing any trades. We may mention, like, oh, this team may trade back or may trade up, but we're not actually going to do trades. It would take too long. It's just we're not GMs, okay? Yeah. We're trying our best, people, okay? But no trades. So with the 4th pick, obviously I could see Atlanta trading back. I could see them picking a quarterback. But I think they're going to surprise a lot of people here, and I think they're going to take Kyle Pitts, tight end from Florida. I don't know why, but if they think Matt Ryan, can play another couple years, why not get him another weapon?
Capitalize now on the opportunity. If you can win a Super Bowl now, go ahead and get a weapon. Kyle Pitts is an unbelievable stud. He's going to be good, so that's a great pick for them to go in the top 5 for him.
All right, your boy Joey, whatever his name, Joey Burrow.
Joey B.
You're a big Burrow fan.
Yeah, love Joe Burrow. And as much as I know a lot of people think they need tackles and a lot of people want to give him Penei Sewell, I'm actually going with Jamar Chase. I'm giving him his college teammate. They had a great connection. They've already got the chemistry. I think he's going to slide right in. The Bengals already have 2 tackles. They're paying Riley Reef $7 million. There's no way they're going to move him to a guard or move Jonah Williams to guard, or even put Penei Sewell at guard. I think they've got 2 tackles. I think they go receiver.
Yeah. Yeah, and right here, picking number 6 is the Miami Dolphins, and the Dolphins have been really active ahead of the draft, been trading up, down, sideways, backwards, all over the place, right? And Bears fans, let's keep in mind that this could be the first time that we may see a trade up for the Chicago Bears. It wouldn't surprise me if the Bears trade up to 6 and get their quarterback, especially with Trey Lance still on the board. The Miami Dolphins, obviously, I don't think this needs to be a tough pick. I think they're going to go Devontae Smith. I think we're going to see receiver back-to-back. I think it's the obvious pick for them, get to another weapon. So Devontae Smith's going to Miami.
And I think the Heisman capped it off that he has to go above Jalen Waddle at this point. I think a lot of GMs are going to use the Heisman award. We've got to take him. So, cool. So it's number 7. So with the Lions, their defense was atrocious last year. I think they gave up the most points and the most yards. So, but either way, I'm going Micah Parsons.
Yeah, best player.
Yeah, their defense needs a lot of help, and Micah Parsons can do everything on defense. So
absolutely, I like that pick. I don't like it because Detroit's in our division, but I like it for them because they definitely need some help on the defensive end. So here we go. The Carolina Panthers are kind of interesting here. You know, you have Sam Darnold now. Do you protect them? You still have Penei Sewell on the board. And at this point, you still have Jalen Waddle too. So you can get him weapons, or you still have Trey Lance. So 3 great players, but Sam Darnold's still young.
Yep.
So I'm going to give him some protection. I'm going to go Penei Sewell, since he's on the board, tackle from Oregon.
I think at this point it's best player available, and he is by far the best player available right now. So you've got to protect your new quarterback.
Absolutely.
And with the Broncos, I think they're going quarterback. I don't think they're completely sold on Drew Lock. So I think they're going to, if they don't trade back or nobody trades up, I think Trey Lance is a great spot for him to go to the Broncos right here.
Absolutely. And once again, Bears fans, I'm going to keep mentioning this. All 32 picks, still the Bears pick. If Trey Lance is there at 9, I think they're going to make an attempt to trade up and get him. You have to at that point. Yep. If he falls, which this is really realistic. I think Trey Lance does fall a little bit.
What do you have, like 1 game?
Right.
Of this season at least. He's going to fall. I think if the Bears are going to make a move, it's within those 3 picks that we've just done.
So now I got America's team on the board. Obviously, there's been a lot of rumors about them trading back, but they need defensive help. They need a cornerback. Patrick Surtain out of Alabama. I think it's a simple pick for them. They definitely need some cornerback defensive help. So Patrick Surtain is going to Dallas.
And with the Giants going right after, I'm going to go ahead. We're just going to attack that the new corner there with Dallas. We're going to go Jalen Waddle. We're going to give Daniel Jones all new weapons. Got to see if he's the real deal or not. So Jalen Waddle, the Giants.
Yeah, and now we have the Eagles, and it's interesting because the GM said there's going to be a quarterback competition for Hurts. So there's been a lot of speculation that the Eagles are going to draft a wide receiver, but there's not all the top receivers are off the board unless you're going to try to reach for one. For some situations, they're saying Devontae Smith may fall to the Eagles. So as I'm looking at the board right now, I don't think they're going to take a tackle. I don't think they're going to take a defensive lineman. I don't think they're going to take a quarterback. So I think right now, I know this may be a reach, but if they really want a receiver, the next best is Rashad Bateman out of Minnesota. They definitely need to establish some receivers in that room for Hurts if he is the future. So I'm going to go Bateman.
And that's a good pick. Bateman's a good receiver. It might be a reach, but I mean, like everybody says, it's not a reach if that's your guy. So if he turns out to be what the Eagles need, then it's a great pick. At number 13 with the Chargers, with Justin Herbert and all these young quarterbacks, the biggest thing is you got to protect the quarterback.
Yeah.
And the only way to protect him is you got to get tackles and guards. And I think tackles are the most important right now. So Rashawn Slater, going to the Chargers, they need to protect Justin Herbert if they want to compete.
Right, and it makes a bunch of sense. Early in free agency, and often they signed a couple of good offensive linemen to come help them out. They got Lindsley, I think that's how you pronounce it, the center from the Packers, right when free agency started. So that's a great pick if you want to try to keep up with the Chiefs, which it's a tough task. So now we have the Minnesota Vikings. Another. I hate doing this pick because why would I want to do the Vikings pick and help them out? So obviously Kirk Cousins, I guess, is still their future. You have a guy like Mac Jones still on the board, but I don't think they take Mac Jones here if they still believe in Kirk Cousins. So this one is tough because we're going into a situation that we don't know anything about these teams. We know their needs, but you never know how the draft is going to fall. So now looking at the draft board, you still have a defensive lineman. I don't think they take a defensive lineman here. So we're going down. Man, this is tough. You got any suggestions here? I know we're going back and forth, but this...
I know they always say, like, oh, you can never have too many corners and you can never have too many offensive and defensive linemen, but, I mean, I don't really know their corners. I mean, J.C. Horn, he's a really good corner, but if the Vikings, if they need a corner, if they want to take a corner, I could definitely see them wanting to maybe get one more weapon, just because.
And they could be going best player available at this point too. If and they could also trade back and get more picks. Obviously, we're not doing trades, so we're just trying to fit the needs. But the Vikings, to me, have always been like a defensive team, like along with Chicago. They always keep their defense, refreshed. So I think I'm going to just select J.C. Horn, South Carolina, another cornerback for I think trying to get the defense back for the Vikings would be a good game plan because they had a dominant defense a couple years ago and it kind of dwindled away a little bit. So trying to reestablish that would be a good idea.
And J.C. Horn's not a bad player at all.
No, at that point too.
So this is where it gets kind of tough. So with the Patriots, they can go a bunch of different ways. But I think because they've been so active in free agency, bringing in weapons, I mean, Jonnu Smith, Hunter Henry, just to name a few, I think right now, if he's available, if nobody trades up, I think the Bears would trade up this, it would be a perfect spot to get ahead of the Patriots. If Mac Jones is available, it kills me to say it, but if he's available, I think he would be a great quarterback for the Patriots. The next best thing in New England.
Yeah. Mac Jones going to New England, and
that hurts.
Yeah, and we're gonna and this guy, we don't really know a bunch about him. He can either be a stud or he can flop.
Yep.
But knowing New England, he's gonna be a stud.
Yeah.
And like Tanner said, Bears fans, maybe you like Tanner now, but this could be a good spot. And I've been saying it in past podcasts that they can trade up and get Mac Jones, which I would be okay with. Yeah. I'm not okay with going up to 6 and getting Mac Jones, but if he's there at 15. I would be ecstatic that he's still there and we could trade up and get him. So now we have the Cardinals on the clock. And to me, you still have a young quarterback. Christian Darrisaw is the best player on the board at this point. Get him some more protection. Load up that offensive line and let him do his thing. Do his little running around and stuff. So we're going to go Christian Darrisaw, Virginia Tech. Easy pick.
I think bringing in J.J. Watt helped solidify their defensive line. So, yeah. Offensive line is the next best thing. Next, the Las Vegas Raiders. They could definitely go, corner. They could look other, but I think they're going to go maybe D-line. I've got them going Jalen Phillips just because Jalen Phillips, I think he's the ultimate wild card because of his injury history.
Right.
If he can stay healthy, I think he's been medically cleared, so I think it's official. He'll be a first round pick because he's healthy, but if he can stay healthy, I think he'll be a really big help to Las Vegas' defense there.
Yeah. I think that's a solid pick for them. I think it will come as a surprise, though. He's the 27th ranked guy. Anybody that plays Madden will understand this, but when you're drafting, if you draft a guy too high, it makes a little noise like doink, like it's like and it's telling you that you picked him too high. But guys like this could be like a mystery. So I think with the Raiders, I think that would be a solid pick for them.
And he's a John Gruden guy.
Yeah.
There's the huge what if. Will he be good? Will he be healthy? And I think that's got Gruden written all over it.
Right. So now we have the Dolphins with the 18th overall pick, and I think this is their second one. They end up having 2. So the Dolphins mean business, people. But I think this should be simple pick. I don't think he's going to be here. I don't think he's going to be on the board at this time, but Christian Barmore is still there on the board. Not sure if I pronounced his name right, but he's going to Miami.
Yeah, I think it goes into best player available, and he'll help them for sure. So you can't really go wrong there. With the Washington football team, this one might be more of a reach again, but I've got them going Zaven Collins. I know they could go a whole bunch of different, linebackers. There's a lot of linebackers who are still available, but I think ultimately, I think Zaven Collins is a really good player. And yeah, it looks like it's a reach, and in Madden it would be a huge reach. But,
Rank 36, Tanner.
But Zaven Collins is a good player. He's another one that can go sideline to sideline, and I think he's a good fit for them.
And now, with pick number 20, we have the Chicago Bears. Obviously, at this point, I think the Bears trade up. Honestly. I think if those players were still there, even if Trey Lance was at 9, I think they trade up and get Trey Lance. Something tells me. But we're not doing any trades. Obviously, there's been a lot of rumors about getting a cornerback. That wouldn't be a bad pick here. But honestly, I'm going to be stuck in my ways, and I'm even going to go into the offensive tackle. And obviously, this is going to be a reach. I know people will say, Bubba, you need to draft Elijah Vera Tucker here. But I'm taking Tevin Jenkins, Oklahoma State tackle. You know why? Because he's nasty.
That's a good pick.
I like him at pick number 20. I don't think this is a reach because he's nasty. I think it's good to have nasty offensive linemen. So I'll take Tevin Jenkins.
And so that gives me the pleasure of picking for the Colts. And the Colts, I think every mock draft I've seen has them picking a tackle. What left tackles are available?
So we're gonna go. So we got tackles. So
with those tackles on the board, they could definitely go Elijah Vera Tucker. But I'm actually going to give them a defensive lineman. I'm going to give them Azeez Ojulari. I think I said his name right. He's a good player, and I think the biggest need for them, the Colts right now, is the edge. But if they can get him, that would be a huge help.
Azeez, man, you must be really reaching here. Is he even on? This is the defensive lineman.
I think he also goes by just AZ as.
We're having some technical difficulties here. We really can't find this guy. Maybe I can type in his name. You want to type in his name, you can search players. It's almost kind of like how you were mentioning to me when you're trying to. There we go.
So number 30, but I think he's a very good edge rusher. And
did I just draft the wrong player? I gave you a running back instead, but you guys heard who he wanted to draft.
So,
that's fine.
Azeez Ojulari, I don't even know how to pronounce his last name. I'm sorry if I'm butchering his last name. I really like his film, and the Colts could really use him.
And sometimes you have those surprises, in the draft. And you're not always going to go by the book and draft all, the players that are supposed to be there. Sometimes you take reaches and take risk, and sometimes it's a good thing. So now we have the Tennessee Titans on the clock with pick 22. Honestly, I've always liked Elijah Moore out of Mississippi. I would hope that he falls to the second round so the Bears can have a chance at him. But I think he's going to be a late first-round pick here with Tennessee and give the Titans another receiver.
I could see him sneaking into the first round. Look how many receivers went early in the draft.
Yeah.
I think a lot of teams are going to be desperate to get receivers, especially once you get later in the first round.
Absolutely, yeah.
Especially like the Ravens pick. Hint, hint. So with the Jets, they need help in general. They've already got their quarterback of the future now. Their weapons are not good. Their defense isn't good, but I think going best player available right now, I'm going to go ahead and give him corner Greg Newsome. He's a very good player, very good corner, and I think he will really help that the Jets defense.
And I think a lot of people may comment down and say, well, you guys should have picked this person. You guys should have picked this player. It's really hard once you have these players in front of you and you're trying to do other teams. It's like, wow, Tanner's only focused on the Colts and I'm only focused on the Bears. This is a big risk for both of us because we don't know these teams. Yeah, we watch football, but we don't study these teams every day.
Yeah, exactly.
So now we have the Steelers, and it says their needs are quarterback, tackle, and guard. But what other quarterback are you going to pick here?
It would be a huge reach.
It would be a huge reach right here. So I think I'm just going to go and give them tackle Elijah Vera-Tucker. I think at this point he's the best tackle on the board.
Yep.
If you really want Big Ben as your quarterback, I'm not going to sit here and talk mess about him. He's a legend.
Yeah.
But just give him some more protection.
With the Jaguars, number 25, I've got them going Caleb Farley, corner. They need help, so whatever kind of help they can get. They got a very young team, so it'll be interesting to see in the next couple years.
And not to be like this, but I could see Caleb Farley dropping. In a couple mock drafts that I did, he dropped all the way to like the end of the first round.
Yeah.
I don't think he's the best corner on the board, but he's definitely worth the first round pick. And if he's there at 25, I think that Jacksonville should be running to the podium.
Yep, they would be ecstatic to see him there. So
absolutely. So now we have the Cleveland Browns, and the Cleveland Browns are finally doing something right. They're finally successful. No more 0-16, Cleveland fans. No more 0-16.
Hopefully.
I probably spoke too soon, right? So, obviously, they need defensive lineman, edge, and linebacker. So, they're basically saying all defense. We need to establish that defense. Give Myles Garrett some help. You know what? I'm going to take the best, probably right now, linebacker on the board at this point, Jeremiah Owosu. I'm not going to pronounce his whole name, but that...
you know what? I've got too much respect for him, so to even...
I'm not even going to try... Yep. Yeah, I'm not butchering that name.
So, with 27, the Ravens, this is where, when I kind of hinted at getting desperate, I mean, there's all these rumors that... I mean, I know T.Y. Hilton, he confirmed that he turned down more money guaranteed from the Ravens just to go back to the Colts.
Okay.
There were, I think Juju Smith-Schuster even turned down more money from them. They're going to be desperate for a receiver. They need a receiver. I think they haven't had a 1,000-yard receiver in like 4 years. So I've got them going Kadarius Toney. I think he is lightning quick. They could go Terrace Marshall Jr., Rondale Moore. There's guys lower on the board, but I think Kadarius Toney he's almost like a Swiss Army knife. You can put him in the backfield and just run. You can throw it to him. You can do. I know they did a whole bunch of screens over in Florida, giving it to him. So he's he's a good player.
And just like last year, the receiver draft this year is deep. There's a lot of quality receivers that, honestly, they could all be first round picks.
Yep.
But there's not enough picks to go around in the first round to get them all in there. So I think they're going to be flying off the board when the second round hits too. But Kadarius Toney, I don't think this is the updated draft board either, because he's way higher than 39 at this moment. So, because I know that he's all over the Bears right now and saying that we may pick him at 20. Yep. So, I think that's a great pick for the Ravens. So now we have the Saints, and obviously, once again, I can see the Saints going receiver here. Their needs are receiver, linebacker, and cornerback. And we're going to go back to the receiver room. And this may be a reach for the Saints, but for a team like the Saints, I think they don't need to try too hard because their franchise is just so solid. It's not like it's in turmoil like the Bears right now, or they don't need to hit A+ on all these picks. So I'm going to go Terrace Marshall Jr. Obviously, you probably watched this guy out of LSU to the Saints.
He's a very good receiver, a bigger receiver, but he also has speed. I believe when he signed with LSU, he was the number one. I know he was the number one receiver. He was very close to being the number one player in 2017 when he graduated high school. But he's been a very good player at LSU, and I think he should sneak into the first round.
Absolutely.
A lot of mocks have him going in the second round. I think it's disrespectful. So I think he should sneak in.
Okay. And will the Packers finally give Aaron Rodgers a receiver, Tanner, or are you?
I have them going receiver, but I think Rashad Bateman was already picked, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he was picked.
Yeah.
Pretty high.
So I'm going to pivot. I mean, they could go Rondale Moore, which
maybe a little high.
Which, yeah, it would be high. But I think looking at their needs, wide receiver, linebacker, corner. Honestly, I could see them going even Trayvon Moehrig and just kind of utilizing him
best player available.
And use him everywhere. You can I don't know if you can slide him, like I said, anywhere, but I do know he can play a lot of positions.
Yeah.
On defense, and you can do a lot of different things. And I think, like you said, best player available.
Yeah, and sometimes that's how it works out. The best player available. Yep. So you can think about needs all you want, but if you have a player that's there, you're like, man, even though we don't need him, he's the best player available, so you have to take him. So now we have the Buffalo Bills. Good for them, by the way. Good for freaking them. Josh Allen's a fucking stud now.
City needs it.
Good for them. So obviously their needs are defensive lineman, edge, and cornerback. And look at. I don't even know how to pronounce that name. Kwity Paye? Kwity Paye out of Michigan is still there. He's an edge.
I think that's a great pick for the Bills. Kwity Paye is a phenomenal player, and from what I've read and seen, he is an even better human being. His story, if you don't know Kwity Paye's story, I highly recommend looking it up. It's a great story. He's a great kid. A great player, but an even better person off the field, and I think that will even help him go up higher in the draft just because of his character off the field. So, and then with the Chiefs, they after the Super Bowl, it looks like they need a lot of help, and they could go offensive line, but because of how deep it is, I think they can wait and get a tackle later, maybe the second round. I'm giving him Jason Owe. He is a very large, very strong player, and I think they'll throw him on defensive line, and I think he'll help their D-line a lot.
And the Chiefs have always, to me, had a powerful offense, but their defense is just not there. They can make the necessary plays, but I think the Chiefs could be an absolutely powerhouse if they figure out that defense.
Yeah, and I think the problem is they've got too many players that they're paying a lot of money to.
Right.
And they've already paying Mahomes that much money. So they're going to need to start getting younger and start getting those rookie contracts.
Right.
So this will be a perfect time to get their D-line going.
And now we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the defending Super Bowl champions. Tom Brady is the GOAT. I don't care what anyone says. And for some reason, it says their needs are quarterback. Which is probably true. You might want to get a young guy in there soon, maybe. But other needs is defensive lineman and a safety. And looking at the board right now, I think I could see the Bucs just taking the best player available. I don't know much about their offensive line. We saw Walker Little on the board, tackle from Stanford. I don't think they take him there. Now we can look at defense. We have Asante Samuel Jr. there, cornerback Florida State. That may be a better pick for them to add to their defense. So I think if I'm going to think about best player available, let's just give them Asante Samuel Jr., cornerback Florida State. I think that would be a better pick for them than Walker Little.
Yeah, and they definitely don't need linemen. I mean, they have one of the best right guards in football. Shout out Alex Kappa. Go Jacks, baby. So, yeah, I think giving them just they don't need a whole lot, and that's the problem.
No.
And that's, even this morning when I was kind of thinking of, I wonder where you'll go with the Bucs, and looking at other picks. I mean, a lot of the mock drafts I've seen, they're like, I don't really know where to go with the Bucs because they brought everybody back, and I still don't understand how they brought everybody back.
Right. And now that completes our mock draft. Obviously, the draft is next Thursday. And I'm excited. I know as an NFL fan, it's nice. This is probably the most anticipated part of the whole season is the draft. But I'm excited. How you feeling?
I'm excited. I have full confidence that the Colts will take care of business and get exactly what they need. I will say, if we were doing trades with the Colts pick, I would have traded out of the first round. I'm like 95% sure Chris Ballard's going to trade out of the first round, pick up a couple second-round picks maybe. But I'm excited. This is everybody says, the offseason is the most exciting time. Well, I think it's just the draft. The 3 days in the draft, it's just because you don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
I mean,
And as anticipated, obviously, this is our mock draft. The top 5 picks here, I'm very confident that this is what's going to look like on Thursday night. I'm not going to put a bet on it, but I would be confident with that bet. If I did bet, if this is what's going to look like for the top 5, I think this is what's going to look like.
Yeah, there's a very good chance this is, if there's no trade ups or trade downs, I think this could be the top 5. Or if teams trade up, I could see 4, maybe even all 5 quarterbacks going top 5.
Right.
If teams get desperate enough,
right.
Patriots or the Bears trade up number 5, get
right.
Mac Jones.
It's possibly that can possibly happen for sure, especially with Ryan Pace being so desperate to save his job. So Bears fans, let me ask you this: make sure you comment down below and give me your full mock draft. I would love to see it. Let me know how you think Tanner and I did. Be nice. I know he's just a guest, so be nice. And Tanner, thank you so much for joining me on this podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Really
Awesome.
appreciate it. But make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the bell notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. But other than that, I'll catch you guys for an all-new episode right here on Geek on the Mic. Thanks, guys.
Now this is a podcast all about Bears. You either cheering for this team or just pulling your hair. I like to take a minute, just sit right back and tell you how I became the #1 Bears fan. That boy is Benny Hunter. Cake on the mic, cake on the mic, cake on the mic, cake on the mic. People, this the intro. Sacramento, California, born and raised. And Antelope is where I spend most of my days. Talk bad about my team, you must be a clown. This is Keek on the mic, so you know you better bear down. Bear down.